a lot of non-believers like think it's a myth that Jesus existed, but it's honestly the most corroborated historical event in history. If you go into the history books, there's not been one person ever corroborated as much as Jesus. And it's two moments in his life. Actually, the Greeks, Romans, like even as far away, I think like they have him like in the Middle East somewhere or like close to China. People were talking about how Jesus got baptized by John the Baptist. Like that is such a historical fact. There's no historian that can actually say that didn't happen because so many different sources, like Charlemagne, the king, has less attribution. Like if you believe in Charlemagne existed, or if you believe like there was like a King Arthur or like Caesar or anything,
Pharaoh.
Or anyone, if you believe King Tutankhamun existed, you have to believe Jesus did because there's more evidence behind Jesus.
Point. King Tutankhamun and Jacob were neighbors. Like as somebody that put yourself as skeptical on the fence, like I want to believe, but some of this doesn't make sense. Like how do you explain that to him? Is I guess where I was going with that. You know, how do we get over that hurdle of I can't even get past these names? You know, without because it doesn't seem believable that 3,000 years ago, there were dudes walking around with sandals named Matthew. Right?
Yeah.
Like
it is that kind of blind. That seems like so normal these days.
I don't mean to ask a question that you might not have an answer to, but it's just something to think about. And maybe something we bring up in another episode and after research and things like that. But like I said, I've just been trying to put myself in a non-believer, a new believer's shoes and think like they would think. And these are the questions that are coming up. And I don't even have the answers, you know?
Yeah.
So
it's important because I think one of the most things that because I came very logically to Jesus and like I needed evidence. And I think that's great for anyone that's on the fence. Like your mind, your teachers, your history has told you Jesus did not exist. Go look up the Wikipedia. And Wikipedia isn't the greatest source in the world, but look up the historicity of Jesus. It's the article. And you'll see that it's a literally conspiracy theory that Jesus didn't exist. There's almost no one. I think like there was one historian like 1,000 or 100 years ago that came up with it. And that's the only historian that's ever doubted it.
But obviously the argument, and I guess I'm playing devil's advocate here,
that's
maybe,
fine. Yeah.
Would be, okay, he did exist, but he wasn't the actual.
Yeah, but I just want to get to the first part because a lot of people don't say he didn't exist. He's a myth.
People that
I would say most people think he was a myth. Like it's just something we're coming. Like I had a debate.
Like the Easter Bunny.
I had a debate on Easter on X with some guy who was saying that Jesus didn't exist because all I was like. If you look in history, if you believe in King Tutankhamun, you also have to believe that Jesus died and was baptized by John the Baptist because those two events have more evidence than any other historical event in the world. And he was still denying it. I'm like, then why do you believe King Tutankhamun existed?
Yeah.
But the second thing that's important too is
was he the Messiah?
Was he the Messiah?
Yeah.
And that comes through with faith. And faith is the absence of knowledge.
Correct.
So you can only believe that. And
I think we said it before. If you know the outcome, you don't need faith.
Yeah, exactly. Then faith is not. Then you know, right? Yeah. Faith just means you believe in something, and you wouldn't need belief if you knew.
Correct.
And it's important. That's a really good differentiating point because it's a lot of people. But again, like a guy named at the very minimum, a guy named Jesus existed 2,000 years ago. The whole thousands of people gave their life. Saying that he died and was resurrected, that's the fact that people claim that he was resurrected and they gave up their lives for him. Yeah. There's also a historical fact that the Law of Embarrassment. It's called people wouldn't say publicly things that would be embarrassed about because it looks bad on them. Yeah. But thousands of people said that. They not only said that they gave their lives up so that it wouldn't happen, so they would put their faith in it. So it's kind of crazy that the whole, like if you're a non-believer, 2,000 years ago, all these people just magically started believing that some guy was resurrected and gave up this whole life, and then they changed the entire calendar to be based on the guy's life starting at zero. Yeah. Like the most powerful person in the world, Constantine, changed the whole calendar to make sure that we understand we base all of our dates around Jesus.
Yep.
But it's just a myth. It didn't really, like, imagine how much, like Harry Potter, imagine if Harry Potter was such a a great book. It existed 2,000 years from now. There must be some truth to that people still love Harry Potter, but it won't be as good as the Bible. But like, if there was a book like Harry Potter that existed that long, there must be some truth to it.